Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SummerSlam edition of Hashtag Truth. And tonight we have referee Darrell Hatley, who will be on the show. How you doing, Darrell?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
I am doing great, man. It's a great day. It's WWE SummerSlam Day. We've been talking about it most of the afternoon, but we're here to talk about you. Tell me, Ref Hatley, how long have you been in the business? How did you get into the business?
I've actually been doing it for 4 years now. August makes 4 years. Um, I actually went to an event in Concord, North Carolina at the Concord Moose Lodge. At the time, the promotion, I can't really remember the promotion, but if I know the promoter's probably watching. His name is Steve Taylor, who's commented during the prediction of SummerSlam.
Okay.
Um, if he could put what the name of the promotion was in the comment section, I'm sure he might. I think it was like OSWA or something like that.
Okay.
Uh, I went to the show, told him, at first I was looking to, possibly be a wrestler, but I backed out of that and decided, a referee would be the best thing for me. And he hooked me up with a couple of the guys, and it took off from there. That's Steve's wife, Amy. She just commented OSWA. So yeah,
That's
I was
it.
right.
So you've been refereeing for 4 years. What made you? At what point in your life? What I asked this question to all the wrestlers and everybody else who comes on the show. A lot of us, it was watching, certain wrestlers or a certain show, or we had a family member that, watched wrestling and you just happened to get it. At what point did you watch wrestling or see wrestling and go, man, that's what I want to do?
That's a good question, Scott. I've watched wrestling since I was a little kid, probably about 5 or 6 years old. You know, uh, back in the day with the Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express, and as I got a little bit older, I was like, man, I would love to do something like that. Well, I was a little too young to try and do anything, so as I got older, I was like, you know what? I think it's about time, and somehow or another, I got hooked up with Steve Taylor and OSWA and spoke with him about it, and he invited me down to Concord, North Carolina, and so that's where I got started.
So when you started refereeing there, of course you weren't. Right now, you're actually a lead referee in the organization you're at now, right?
Right. It's a promotion called NEW. Uh, the
Okay.
promoter, he is out of the Wilkesboro area. A matter of fact, we had an event last night in Rhonda, North Carolina. When I got there, showed up, come to find out another promotion was there and did their event. So it was a two show in one night kind of thing. The other promotion was called Squared Circle Champions.
Okay.
I met with the promoter there. He enjoyed what he saw out of me. We did talk in between his promotion ending and NEW getting ready to start, and he said that he would like to be able to have me come on out. So
Jason Orr said that's where I met you at.
I'm not worried about Jason Orr. Me and him have our issues of our own. Matter of fact, he's one of the referees for NRLL. Um, they run some shows out in Greensboro and stuff, and me and him had a feud before, or if you want to call it a feud. He was pretty much being paid and put in somebody's back pocket, and the board of NRLL didn't like it, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna talk to the board. The board liked my idea of being a special guest referee enforcer, if you will, at an event in Greensboro.
Okay.
I showed up, and after the championship match, was over with, it was between Alistair Angel and the Get Bundles. The Get, you know, pretty much got the championship because you know, Jason decided to fast count, and that's how Angel lost his championship.
Oh,
So
okay.
the fans were pretty upset about it. I stepped out onto the stage, went down to the ring, and Angel and Jason, you know, Ref Jason had a few words. Um, I told Jason that I would show him what I meant by no more shenanigans. And once he was down, I shouldn't have done it, but once he was down, I just stomped that mud hole in him.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So when you started off in your wrestling career, who trained you to as a referee? Who trained you to be a referee?
Steve Taylor actually set me up with two guys, Tim Jackson and Mark Bradley, who were a tag team together known as the Pain Gang out of Concord, North Carolina.
Okay. That's awesome, man. So, to pull the hat out of the to pull the rabbit out of the hat, we actually talked earlier, and we had a conversation that I want you to share with everybody here on hashtag Truth. You had a story about a couple of refs and that you met at the show and what had happened with one of those refs, and I was almost rolling in the floor laughing. So I'm pretty sure everybody out there is going to want to hear this story. So if you could, please tell that story, man.
Well, you know what? Before I get to that part, Scott,
Okay.
uh, you know, I have some friends that was running the sound system last night, and they actually told me that one ref that me and you spoke of this morning, they wanted him to learn how to, you know, take the bumps and a chest chop, and he started freaking out. He's like, I don't know about all that. I don't know. I don't think that's right. Well, the promoter's like, well, I'm not going to do it real hard, and he gave him kind of one of those love tap kind of deals, and I guess he thought his heart and chest exploded because he said that he was hurting real bad. Um, I don't know, man. I mean,
You're
you know,
not going to make it in the business of professional wrestling if you can't take a bump. You're
no,
just not.
you know, you got to be able to learn to take them.
Right?
If you're that scared and don't want to do it, you know, it's okay to say, hey, you know what, this ain't for me.
Right? No
You know,
doubt.
and if it's not for you, it's okay. You can
Right.
just sit in the seats with the rest of the fans and enjoy the show.
Right? No doubt at all, man. So right now, as you're refereeing, I mean, you've been in the business for 4 years. We were talking SummerSlam earlier. Do you watch any of the other wrestlers? Do you watch matches to watch the referees to see how they handle situations as like part of your training, or do you like to just get in there and do it?
Actually, you know what? You brought up a good point. I do that. There's two guys in particular. One who I really enjoyed watching was veteran Earl Hebner. Um, him and his son Brian. I always enjoyed watching them. If the camera angle's right when they're doing it,
Right,
I
right,
love watching them. Another one that's in WWE, I would say Charles Robinson.
right.
Uh, he's a real good one to learn from. Um, my advice to any green, you know, referees that are really extremely green and want to start out, I would say, you know, watch some videos, whether it's on YouTube or whatever. Look for Charles Robinson or Earl Hebner or Tommy Young. Those
Okay.
are those are the three major ones I suggest watching. Um,
Has a promoter ever put you in a storyline as a referee? Have you ever been in, like the heel referee? You always, the slow counts for the good guys, the fast counts for the bad guys. Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Actually, I've never had that chance, but I would absolutely love it before the end of 2019 is over with. Um, you know, talking about being in a storyline, I got a perfect one for you, and you'll get a kick out of this, Scott. I refereed for promotion out of Concord. It's a different promotion. I'm not sure if you ever heard of Wild Thing Willie Clay, but he had a promotion called CCW down in Concord,
Okay.
and we did an event out at the church, out at his church. It was an outside event, wonderful day. In the main event, I ended up getting knocked down. Uh, it was between Sweet Dreams and Wild Man Wolf.
Okay.
And it was for the championship. And I didn't realize the senior official, his name was Sam Mercer, had come in, and we both counted to three at the same time. So there was an indecisive winner.
See, I like storylines like that. That is fun to me to have two storylines like that where you have a storyline where two referees come in or you have where one referee has holds one guy's arm up for any reason and another ref holds another guy's arm up and it's like, well, who's the real winner? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, Scott, I've not got to the best part yet.
Okay.
The best, kind of fast forward a little bit, 2 months. We, well, okay, let me take it back 1 month. We did a kind of like a charity or a benefit show for Oxford House of Charlotte. And, me and senior official Sam Mercer, we were still having our feud between each other over the previous month. And, I'd kind of go out, trying to intimidate him a little bit to see if it would actually work. I don't know if it did or not. In a tag match, it was a title tag match. I reffed. At the end of that match, he stepped into the ring. He did give me a little shove. I gave him one back. Um, One of the wrestlers actually had to step in between both of us when I attempted to throw the first punch.
Okay.
The punch wasn't successful, but it got stopped. So fast forward to the next month, they decided to do a ref versus ref match.
Oh, wow.
So it was between me and senior official Ref Mercer.
Okay.
Uh, the loser of the match had to wear a dress for the remaining of the event.
Did you have to wear a dress?
Well, actually, we both did. He did. The finishing move was a belly to back suplex. Both our shoulders were on the mat. The ref, Darrell Morris, who refereed for us, counted both our shoulders 1, 2, 3, and at first I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do it. So I made a comment. You ain't putting that dress on me. I like to
Okay.
see somebody come up in here and try and put it on me. That was a mistake on my part. Wrestler Sweet Dreams actually showed up in the ring with that dress and said, "You're going to wear it, or I'm going to put it on you for you."
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I actually ended up putting it on. I was like, you know what, for the fans,
So for all the fans out there that are going to watch this or are watching it right now, what color was the dress? What was your color?
well, it was more of a kind of like a raincoat kind of type dress thing.
Oh, okay. I got you.
To be honest
More
with you, I
like a
don't even.
moo more like a moo
Probably. but you know what? It was always good. Do something like that for the fans. Kind of give them a good laugh.
Jason said, "Oh, Darrell, I bet you look pretty in a dress."
You know what, Jason? I know you're listening. So how about a referee versus referee put you in a dress?
There you have it, right here on #Truth, man. Somebody book it. Let's do it.
Well, you know what, Scott? I think he's a little bit too afraid because he claims that he's the best between me and him. He's not the best.
Uh-oh. I like that when there's the actual competition between the refs in the ring as well as the wrestlers. I like that. So are refs like that? Let me ask you straight out. Do referees get jealous of one another as far as their skill sets and things like that? Have you ever come across somebody who is jealous of you?
Jason's actually the first one that I came across that's actually jealous of me, period. As far as any other ref, no. I don't. I'll be honest with you, Scott. I don't consider myself the best. I'm good at what I do, yes, but I don't consider myself the best more than any other guy.
Right.
And I, a post was made about this a while back, and I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, I think it was from Jason. And I said, let me tell you something. If you want to learn from the best or the greatest referees, you better learn from guys like Charles Robinson, Earl Hebner, or Tommy Young. The best ones that I've actually seen on the Indies here in the Carolinas is Jared Fritz with PWX, Kevin Pierce, who's also with PWX, and James Hunter. James Hunter, he referees for a guy for promotion like Ring Wars Carolina. I think they're down in Fayetteville or somewhere like that. But
Okay.
James
You're
Hunter,
going to have to explain to everybody the baby cooing in the background because I've got a lot of comments about the baby.
That's actually my little boy. He's 16 months. I got him watching Woody Woodpecker cartoon show, and he's growling. So I'm not sure why he's growling at Woody Woodpecker. He's never done anything to my little boy, so I don't know.
I did my little screech thing, but I'm not doing Woody Woodpecker on #Truth. I'm just not going to do it.
You know what? I'll actually do you one even better, Scott. This is actually going to be the future referee here in the Carolinas.
There you go. How you doing, little man?
He's actually growling at me and pulling on my leg and trying to get up on the couch. So,
hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. I love it.
Got to start them out early in the wrestling. Got to get them watching it and learning.
No doubt, man. No doubt whatsoever. You got it. You got to do that. So what's the craziest thing you've ever seen in a wrestling ring as a referee? Something that just made your eyes bug out that you didn't expect to happen in the ring. Is there anything that comes to mind?
No, not really. I don't think I've come across anything like that yet.
Did you ever have an instance in your 4-year career where somebody got really hurt and you had to throw the X sign up and end the match?
I've never had to throw that up.
Wow.
In all my 4 years, I've never had to do that. I think there was one time it came close to that. It was, I think it was Little Donnie versus Jeff Hart out in Concord.
Okay.
Jeff hurt his ribs, and he was hurting a little bit trying to breathe. But I said, look, if you need me to, I'll throw it up. Just let me know. He said, nope, don't do it. He goes, just help me out. And so I helped him out, helped him to the locker room. So,
speaking of Little Donnie, I'm glad you mentioned him because I'm trying to get him on the show. Somebody talked to me about him, and I actually I'm going to try to get him on #Truth. I would love to have him on here.
I saw him last night. He was in a hardcore match last night, and let's just say a ball bat got put in the wrong place.
Ow. So I'm assuming he didn't win.
No.
Oh.
But it was for the hardcore championship. Flip, Flip Jake Dancy, he's the, I guess you say, one of the promoters.
Okay.
He had a member pass away, and he gave I'm assuming it was the aunt, or his aunt, the person's mom, and they retired the belt out to that family.
Oh, that's cool. See, that's awesome right there. That is a great story to hear. Um, I do say one thing. I do complain a lot about indies wrestling. I do complain about what us fans want, but it's stories like that keeps me wanting to come back to indies wrestling. That stuff right there. That almost put a tear in my eye, and that's not a joke. I'm not saying that to get to try to be funny or anything.
Right.
That is a great story right there. There's times like that where I'm proud to be part of a wrestling family. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and I treat the best thing that I like. The best events I like doing, Scott, is the ones that where a family member may be battling cancer or whatever, and I don't go there to try and get paid or whatever. I donate my time to them,
Right.
because it's for a good cause. You know what I'm saying?
No
And
doubt, no doubt. That's one thing that I do see in indies wrestling a lot. There are a lot of charity shows, and that is a good thing. Not good for the owners and promoters because they're not making any money, but it's great that they're giving back to the community and the people who are watching them, and the family members and things like that. Everybody knows I frequent EWF, and we have the Holly Yatsko Memorial Cup coming up in EWF. I got my shirt on today, and they give and they give the proceeds to a charity. We've also got the Billy Ruff Memorial coming up, and in honor of Billy Ruff, and they give all everything that comes through the door is given to a family who has a child or a family member that's ill, that's battling terminal illness, and it's just a great thing to be a part of, man. It's awesome when you have people that do that. And it's not just, a lot of people think it's just the wrestlers and the promoters. It's everybody. It's the referees. It's the fans.
yeah,
Everybody has to come together to make that work.
just recently, I'm sure a lot of the fans that may be watching, or especially you, Scott, have heard of Rick Link. He, I guess in his younger days he went by Mountain Man Link, and
Right.
he's known to a lot of people now as Beastmaster Rick Link. They just
Okay.
recent LWF in Lexington did a show not long ago. I guess about last month. They did an event for Rick. Um, from what I
Okay.
heard, they had a pretty good turnout. Rick's battling. I think he's battling cancer himself, and so from what I heard, they did a good show. And it's always good. The promoters do these type of events. Because it lets that person know, hey, we care about you. If you need anything, let us know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It makes you feel like a huge family, and that's what a lot of wrestling promotions are. It's
Right.
one big family, and I really like being a part of things like that, and I like seeing all the fans come together. I love being a part of the fan base that comes together and does that.
Oh yeah.
Steve Taylor said, "Beastmaster, my brother."
Yeah. Steve's had Beastmaster on his event, on his show quite a few times, and
Okay.
I was glad and honored that had the opportunity to be in that match. Be the official in that match for him. I did get a little too close, and I got knocked out for a little bit, but I was still able to get up and finish that match.
Awesome, man. Have you ever been in a match where something went terribly wrong? Like, um, you thought something was going to happen, but instead you took a bump, or where the match didn't go exactly the way it was supposed to, and you had to ad-lib the ending, or you gave a 3 count when it wasn't supposed to happen, or you forgot to give a 3 count when you were supposed to. Have you ever had a botch happen in one of your matches?
Uh, well, not that I can remember. There was one match in particular. It almost got botched. Um, it was between Jimmy Parker and Rob Killjoy from the Ugly Ducklings. We were in Concord doing an event. Um, it just so happened that Rob went for it was either no, I take that back. Jimmy went for the pin on Rob, and my hand was just inches, just mere inches from making that 3. And I happened to look. Rob's foot was underneath that rope. I had to stop.
Oh, wow.
And got back, after the match was over, got in the locker room, and, Rob come up to me. He said, man, he said, that was close. He said, all the fans thought you hit that 3. I said, no. I said, man, I'm telling you, it was really close. But when I noticed the foot was underneath the rope, I had to stop. And, from Rob Killjoy, I kind of look at him, because I kind of talk to him and get advice from him. And, he helps me out some. And I talk to some of these other veteran wrestlers and other referees. And I love getting advice from them. On some of the things to look out more for. So
Jason said that's okay. Darrell can't count, so that's a lot.
well, you know what? I would like to give him a little gesture, but with fans watching, I don't think it'll be appropriate.
I love it. I love it. So, what is the craziest thing you have ever seen at a wrestling show that you can remember? I mean, it doesn't even have to be a match that you reffed. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen at an indies wrestling show?
I'll give you a good one. Matter of fact, I believe it was Steve Taylor's OSWA promotion.
Okay.
We had Damian Wayne Costa with his manager, Joey Nuggs, facing Tim Jackson. And one of the fans that we had there, and Steve, and I'm sure Jason Orr knows who I'm talking about. I won't say her name because of what happened to her, but
Okay.
Steve will know. Joey Nuggs and Damian Wayne made the lady have a heart attack at the event. They had the fire department
Was it
showed
was
a
it was
fire
it
truck.
something they did? Oh, they had firecrackers at the show.
No. It wasn't firecrackers.
Oh,
A fire truck showed up and an ambulance showed up for her because she had that heart attack. I'm sure it was because I think I officiated that match. I think that's the match where I disqualified Damien for hitting Tim with the chair, and I got a little too close to Damien, and he got mad at me and turned the chair on me. He got me in my stomach, and he laid the chair into my back and knocked me, pretty much knocked the breath out of me. And I laid there probably for a good 25 minutes. I was helped out of the ring and had to be taken to the back. And
right.
I come out from changing clothes, and sure enough, there was a fire truck and a ambulance there for the lady that made her have a heart attack. So
Steve said heart attack kid Damian Wayne.
Steve, you got that right. So, but Yeah.
Have you ever Have you ever had a time where, you were told to go out and referee a match and you didn't like the wrestlers, or you had a beef with one of the wrestlers and you just didn't want to go out there?
No, I've not had that happen yet.
Okay.
Because a lot of the guys that I know, when I first started out, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any of the wrestlers.
Okay.
And so between the first time I started out till now, my 4-year career, I become friends with them, and so I think the only one that I could kind of say that I have an issue with would actually, well, I don't know if I have an issue with him, but was last night. And again, I'm not going to name the wrestlers,
Right.
but one of the wrestlers stiff armed the other one, and the one that got stiff armed didn't like it. He made a few choice words. A couple of the guys talked. The guy actually talked to him in the locker room, and he wanted to get a little bit of attitude. And I, if if you're gonna pull that move on somebody first, you better expect to have it back, done to you as well.
Oh, no
And
doubt. No doubt, man. If you're going to give it, you better be able to take a receipt. That's
oh
just
yeah,
it, man.
and and there's times now where you can see people, some of the wrestlers, they might not like what we do, and they'll get up in
Right.
our faces and they'll push us.
Right. I've seen I mean, sometimes it's part of the show, but sometimes it's really not. I've seen referees come to the ring and flat out, tell the referees, hey, you better do your job. You better do it right, or there's going to be consequences. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Steve said a receipt. He just said that, a receipt. That's the terminology I just used a second ago. And a lot of people don't like me using that terminology on hashtag truth. They don't want people to know, what happens, behind the curtain, I guess. But, when you get in a conversation, you got to talk about them things.
Oh yeah.
But there are some people out there that make mistakes in the ring. There are some wrestlers that work stiff, I guess is the way you could say it. They come out and uh, they don't pull their stuff. They actually hit you, and some people don't like working with them.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of times where the refs, we go out there, we're the law, basically. And, sometimes wrestlers don't like what we say. And, you know, I had a wrestler out in Concord. He went by Mr. Sexy. That was his name. Steve
Oh,
knows
wow.
exactly who I'm talking about. Let me
Mr.
tell you something.
Sexy. All
Let me
right.
tell you something. If I was a woman, I would straight up tell you there's nothing sexy about this dude at all. But I, he didn't like it that he didn't get the 3 count, and he got it up. He gave me a shove, and I just let him have it. And I gave him a shove right back, and out between the ropes he went. So,
I was talking about some people working stiff, and Steve Taylor said stiff as a woodpecker in Alaska.
oh my lord, Steve, go take you a nap.
I like that, man. You seem to be the only one hanging around and making comments, Steve. Don't take a nap. Stay with us on hashtag truth, brother, because I'm enjoying this. But yeah, we're not getting a lot of views right now because we're doing this during SmackDown show. So our SmackDown, listen to me. SummerSlam. I'm all screwed up today. But during SummerSlam. So hopefully, I'll tell you what, Darrell, if this doesn't go off too well, we don't get enough views, I will have you back on the show, man. I will reschedule you. Next time, I'm gonna realize that when WWE Sunday, when they have one of their big pay-per-views, I probably shouldn't have a guest on those nights.
Oh, you're good. You're good,
But I'm
Scott.
but I'm glad you're a trooper, brother. I'm glad you decided to come on. You've done it well. I'm glad you come on, man. And there's a lot of people out there who don't understand. Tell me a little bit about how you prepare in the morning. And I've never asked a ref this. You're my first one, and I've had a few referees on the show. What is your mindset when you wake up in the morning of a show? What is your mindset going into that show? How do you prepare for the show?
Well, I tell you what, I'll give you my routine on how I do my shows. When I get ready for them. I usually wake up about 8 or 9 o'clock that morning. Because I want to
Okay.
make sure I get well prepared, well rested and prepared for the day. So, what I normally do is I'll get up, eat me a good healthy breakfast. I'll go to the gym, maybe get on the treadmill and try and run for a couple of miles. Do some weights here and there. Come back home, relax, eat me another healthy lunch, and head on out to the event. But before I leave to go out to the event, I try and either go on YouTube or whatever, or go on the WWE Network and watch some of the older guys. Like I said, Earl Hebner, Charles Robinson, Tommy Young. I go and try to get my mindset like, what are they thinking before they actually get on their events.
Right.
How, I try and figure out, well, how do they prepare? But each person prepares a different way. Um, when I get in the locker room to try and get my mindset, I put earbuds in, put on some music that helps me breathe, stay calm breathing, and just relax my body and stretch out here and there, so that way I don't pull anything and start talking to
Now
everybody.
here's a question for you. WWE Network. A lot of wrestling organizations are even indie organizations are putting up their own networks and showing shows, and they're having shows about wrestlers and podcasting shows like this one. Um, why don't you think they do shows about referees? Why don't you think that I'm one of the very few podcasts that interview referees? Um, some people think it's faux pas to talk to a referee. They think they should never be seen or heard. What do you feel about that?
Well, I guess everybody's different, Scott. My thing is I think some of them should talk to referees. Kind of get their insight and their perspective of of how their career is. Along with wrestlers. Sometimes I do feel like us referees. It doesn't matter if it's here in the Carolinas or wherever. I feel that sometimes that you know yeah, we get overlooked, because people don't want to hear what we have to say, or they don't want to know, well, what's it like being a referee? What's it like being in there with, you know, some of these legends? You know, they like to hear from other the wrestlers. Who would you like to face in your career? And you know, and
There's,
speaking
there,
of,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I love that part as a fan too, but and what goes lost in some of these conversations, and I've had this conversation with the other refs I've had on the show, and all of you are great in your own way, but a lot of them were taught as referees that you should be out of sight, out of mind, unless you're in a storyline, or you're taking a bump, as part of the wrestling show. You guys shouldn't be seen except for the 3 count or the count out or
that
to,
I hear that same thing too, Scott. And if you watch two wrestlers, you'll see, like, if you see a big move happen, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna see that referee's same expression. If not, they may have a different expression. I got picked on last night because of my facial expressions. You know, and the ring that I was in was pretty bouncy. And one
right.
of the guys had a big suplex put on him, and I come off about 2 foot in the air off the ring.
But that makes but me and another person was having a conversation about that. That makes the wrestlers look good when you guys do that. When a referee bounces, even just a couple inches off the mat, or 6 inches off the mat, when there's like a suplex or some kind of slam being done, and you guys come up off the mat, that makes them look good. That tells the audience, man, that was a devastating move.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
I actually had a fan come up to me last night, and they're like, "Man, you come up off that ring, off that mat pretty high." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, when he gave him that suplex, it was a pretty hard one. And
Right?
they're like, "Was it really?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was really good."
Steve said in the old days, the ref would never be interviewed. No disrespect, but that's why kayfabe is going away. Too much being told on the pro level. Now, I do agree with that. I do agree with that to some extent, Steve, and I do. And I'd love to have you on hashtag truth, by the way, and we'll talk about that. But wrestling, in my opinion, has gotten to the point where, in order to keep it, and don't take this the wrong way, wrestling's always been awesome. I grew up watching wrestling. I've watched wrestling for over 30 years. I've never been a part of a promotion. I've never been a wrestler, owner, promoter, booker, nothing. I'm a fan. So don't jump down my throat when I say this, but this is how I feel. In order to keep wrestling relevant in a day and age where information is passed like that, shows like this is keeping wrestling relevant. And I do believe that.
Right.
Because everybody wants to know what's going on. Everybody wants to know behind the scenes. And if you don't give them a little taste of what's going on behind the scenes, they're not going to be interested. It's great. I love the ring stuff. I do. I'm one of the biggest, I'm not going to do my shriek, but I geek out if you give me a good show, if you give me a good storyline. But there are a lot of people out there who, the second they see something going on in the ring, well, yeah, this is, and they use the F word that everybody in wrestling hates, well, that's fake. I can tell it's fake. I know it's fake, blah, blah, blah. Well, we don't want to hear that. We want our beliefs suspended. We want to believe that they're really in there hating each other and killing each other. But we're in a day and age where, we see two people wrestle, like tonight, two people wrestle at SummerSlam, beat the crap out of each other. And tomorrow on Twitter, I guarantee you, we'll see pictures of them, whatever city they're in. I don't know where SummerSlam's at this year. I can't remember. But I guarantee you, we'll see a picture on WWE Network of two wrestlers that were beating the crap out of each other the night before, walking the town and having a good time in the city that they're in.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just our fault. It's everybody in wrestling doing that.
Yeah, and like I have a lot of friends who know what I do, and they've never been to an event, and they're like, "Well, can you tell me what all happens?" I'm like, "No, I can't do that. I'm not going to tell you what all happens at a show. I mean, you're just going to have to, if you want to see some
Right.
really hot wrestling action, you're just going to have to buy a ticket just like all the other fans." And
right. Right. And I've been to a lot of promotions where they want to tell me, and I'm not complaining by any means, because that, I feel respected when they do that. But I'll tell people when I'm at a show and they're like, "Oh, you want to know what's going to happen?" No, please do not tell me. I want to be shocked. Just, I'm another fan. If you know what's coming, it's not fun.
Right.
If you know what's coming, it's not fun. I like being shocked. I like being surprised.
And talking about the bad word, the F word, in wrestling, one of my coworkers, I invited him to the show last night, and he goes, "Well, tell me the truth. Is it really fake?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you this.
All the wrestlers will tell them in a heartbeat. Let me pick you up and let me body slam you, and you train one day the way we train, and the next morning you tell me how fake it is."
I told him the same thing.
And I believe it. I've never been there, but I believe it.
I told him, I said, let me give you a few, chops. Let me body slam you. I was like, let me hit you
Let me
in the
hit
back
you in
with a
the
chair.
back with a steel chair, swinging a steel chair. Let me hit you with a kendo stick and tell me how badly it stings. I
Now,
mean,
I will tell you this. I've been hit with a pile driver twice, and them things are no fun. They do hurt.
right.
I'm somewhat of a big guy. I weigh probably around 225, 230, maybe
Okay.
235 tops.
Okay.
So I'm a big guy, and I've had the same wrestler, uh, King Shane Williams. He's picked me up and pile drive me. He's dropped me, and let me tell you, I almost folded up like an accordion.
Oh wow.
But part of it was my fault because I've seen how a pile driver's been done. It was my fault. I didn't, have myself the way I should have been.
Right. You
And
have to be in
so,
position to take a move.
right. And the second one, I probably shouldn't say this, but wasn't supposed to happen to begin with. Um,
I'm
it
not
was
laughing at you. Steve Taylor put on here. Let me pimp slap him one time.
Steve. Let me tell you something. You pimp slap me, and I'm gonna knock that taste at your mouth.
Oh wow.
Me, Steve, we go back to the first, to when I was there with him in OSWA. Me and him talked plenty of smack before.
All right, let me put this out there. If you have any questions for referee Darrell Hatley, you got 3 minutes to get them out there. We got 3 minutes left in the show, and then everybody's going to get off and go watch SummerSlam and have a great time today. Thank you, Darrell, for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you being here. But if you have any questions or comments for Darrell or me, right now would be the time to get them up there. Um, so where are you going to be at in the near future, Darrell? Where are you going to be refereeing? Where can we find Darrell the referee?
Well, to be honest with you, Scott, as of after this year, um, I'm taking a long break. Um,
Okay.
I've got some stuff that I want to work on for myself. For myself personally, it has nothing to do with, you know, you know. I guess you would say it doesn't have to do with my family, but it's just myself
Right.
personally.
Right.
I'm not going to go into detail on why or
Let me
what
let
it's
me let
about.
me let me let me say something right now. And I'll give a perfect example of this. And it's not the same problem that you have. I know that for a fact. But there are some people, just like in any other business, there are some people that have their demons at home. Some things that happened in their personal lives that, sometimes it takes control of you and you have to step back, get yourself right, and then get back into what you love to do. And I'm no different. We had this conversation earlier, and I'm not scared to say it. Even though it doesn't look like it on my show, I deal with depression. Depression is one of the things that I have, and I take medicine for it. And there's a few things that's happened in my life that, you know, that when it comes up, there's family members here, my wife, my kids, they know certain times of the year that, it takes over my life, and I don't care how much medicine they're putting in me, it affects me. And
Right.
so, in saying that, personal demons come up, and sometimes you just got to step back, and I can understand that, brother, and I commend you for doing that, stepping back and getting yourself right, and I'm going to make this perfectly clear to everybody. This is not alcohol, drug, or anything else related. This man just has a few things he has to deal with, and he'll be back. And I applaud you for that, brother. I really do.
Yeah, like I told you this morning, it's not a permanent thing. I'm not retiring. I'm not, telling everybody bye. Um, it's one of these things that I've been having trouble with over the last few months, and it's not gotten any better.
Right.
So I just need to take time away. I made that announcement last night at the event. Um, and a lot of people that were still there, guys in the locker room come out. They all applauded me for it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Darrell, if hashtag truth is still running strong after the first of the year and you come back, I would love you to come back on hashtag truth to make the announcement that you are back in wrestling, brother.
Sure.
I would love for you to do that.
Oh yeah, and you'll be the first one to know when I'm back.
I appreciate that, man. Well, we're going to call it a day, man. We are like 4 minutes away from SummerSlam. Darrell, I appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome to come back on hashtag truth, man. I applaud you for doing what you're doing, brother. I thank you for being a referee in all these organizations and making the matches look good for all of us fans. Referees don't get a lot of credit, and I'm going to tell you, without you, there's no show. So, and I'm one of the fans that do understand that, and I appreciate everything you do, and I hope that once everything gets, like I said, once you get everything back on the straight and narrow, that you'll be back with a vengeance, man, in the ring, and we're looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, and maybe, just maybe, and this is just a little hint, there may be a different little change into this to maybe next year. So who knows? Maybe I'll be back before next year, maybe not. We don't know when I'll be back, but once I come back, there's going to be a little change.
There we go. I love to hear that. Change for the good. Make sure you say that. Change for the good.
Change for the good is always good.
There you go, brother. All right, well, you have a good night, man, and we're going to get off of here. We're going to go and watch SummerSlam. We're going to go watch some WWE wrestling, and maybe we'll come back in a day or two, and we'll do a review of SummerSlam, and we'll see you then.
All right, have a good night, Scott.
All right, good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night on hashtag truth.